In this exercise, I'll demonstrate how to blend your data in Tableau. Blends are very similar to joins. However, the blend is actually joining together data after it's already been aggregated. So it's already at its summarized level, and it quickly joins together things that might not always be joinable at the database level. And as you can see, we have 3 columns: calendar year, region, and revenue. And that's from our Source A tab. Our Source B tab has time period, region, and revenue. And definitely make a note of column A. You can see how they're totally different column names. But we'll figure that out once we get into the Tableau and how we can actually join these up. Now that we're back in Tableau, let's create a brand new sheet. And we'll call this blending. And now we need to connect to our Excel-based file to begin the blend operation. We'll add our new data source, Excel file, and it's called Regional Bank Revenue. Let's first add source A. Looks good. We'll come back over to our blending worksheet, and now we can see source A. Next, let's create another connection. Again, Excel file and regional bank revenue. Now we'll drag in source B. All right, so back to our blending worksheet. To get this blend started, let's click on source A. Let's now add a region to rows, and then the respective revenue. So double click on revenue, and let's change this to be a bar. Now if we click on source B, you'll see that Tableau is prepared to blend our data because there's that little link icon here. Because both of these sources contain the same field, region, it's prepared to blend that data together. So if I now add revenue from our second source by double clicking, Tableau was able to align based on region the revenue from both sources. This is the source A data, and this is the source B data. Source B has this tiny orange check mark inside of its measure, which indicates that it's coming from a different source. Source B, source A. So Tableau has essentially joined both of these data sets together using an inner join on region. Let's now break our data up by year. So I'll come on up to source A, and I'll drag calendar year right in before our region. So as you can see, Tableau has basically duplicated all the values from source B because it doesn't know how to break up this data by year. Everything on the left here from source A looks just fine. And I'll go ahead and just add some labels here so you can see the different totals. A little over 17 million, and that's duplicated for every single year. But that's actually not the case. We have years within our source B as well. The only blend that's currently happening is on region, so we actually have to pass that blend to the time period as well. And the reason why Tableau isn't natively picking up the blending criteria for time period, it's because there's 2 different names for the fields. We have time period in source B, and in source A, we have calendar year. Let's rename calendar year to time period. And just like that, Tableau now can perform the blend. If you go back to source B, you'll see that time period now has a linking factor to source A. And that's why the data is now being updated correctly. So it's very important to make sure you have the proper level of relationships established between both sources when blending data. And you can verify that by coming up to Data, Edit Relationships, So currently source A is joining on both time period and region to source B. You can see here the primary source in blue and our secondary source in orange. Tableau has selected the automatic radio button because based on the naming of the fields, it automatically created the blend for us. However, if you didn't feel like renaming the fields, for example, if I cancel out, undo, and just to show you, no longer our time period and calendar year name the same thing. So we must manually specify that the relationship exists. So we'll come up to Data, Edit Relationships. So now I'll make this a custom blend by using the source A, blending with source B, custom, adding in the calendar year and connecting that to the time period. Okay. And you can see these other fields align right here. Okay. So there you have it. That's another way of blending your data without having to actually rename your fields. And that was just a quick demonstration of how you can blend two sources of data together into one chart. Let's move on to the next unit. In this example, I'll demonstrate how you can actually union together your data that's partitioned across multiple sheets or multiple tables. As you can see, we have data from 2011, 2012, 13, 14, and 15. A lot of you may have data sets that are spread out like this and perhaps hundreds of tabs. Well, Tableau has a really neat feature called Union that will automatically integrate all of these disparate data sets instantly. So let's go ahead and just open up the Union exercise Excel file within Tableau. We'll create a new sheet. Let's call this Union Demo. Connecting to a new source, Excel, Union exercise, and there's a few different ways to execute this union. We can add 2011, 2012. We can just drag and drop right below, and you can see as we hover over, this drag table to union box pops up. So Tableau recognizes that these files have the exact same column structure, same headers and everything. So it's automatically saying, hey, I could take care of that for you. So I'll just drop 2012 in there. And as you can see, Tableau has now added another column that indicates what the sheet was that was pulled in and the associated table name that Tableau has handed out for this particular table. I know that each sheet has 1,000 rows, so if we bump this up to 2,000 rows and scroll downward, we're going to see our 2012 data in here as well. And there it is. So we can do a shift click on 2013 to 15 and just drag and drop those to add them to the union. Let's remove this union. And you could also use the new union tool. So we'll just double click on that and then drag the tables into here. So 2011, 2012, 13, 14, and 15. Hit apply. And OK. And it was literally that easy to link up all of those sheets. So hopefully this is a great time saver for many of you out there. as a lot of copying and pasting has gone to the wayside thanks to this particular feature that Tableau has introduced as of a recent release. And if we pop open our union demo, we can see that if we add in date, we have all 5 years. We have our balance. Data across the board. Let's now move on to the next example